Frank's 100 Ultra Bright Long Life Miniature Lights. For indoor or outdoor use, string-to-string connections, and a very long 52.5-foot total length. These are from before the spacing of the lights became shorter and shorter every year. It's kind of a neat box. You're able to test them right inside the box. And although I guess you can't see if the bottom part's working, you would be able to see if the two top rows are working. The box has a nice pine cone design. Looks like Christmas. Old school design. Very attractive. Unique lamp locking system. Virtually eliminates loose bulbs. I don't know about virtual elimination, but I do find that the bulbs that have the strings that have the locking sockets do tend to be more reliable over time. This is a string of all green, which is kind of uncommon. All right, let's scrutinize the box, and then we'll take a look at the contents. Frank's, where beautiful things begin. Well, not anymore. Frank's is long gone. I remember Frank's. I remember going there actually pretty vividly. The local store around here was a really interesting building. It had very, very high ceilings. It was almost like a old warehouse style building. And it had one of the best industrial ceiling fan installations I've ever seen. The fans were old. They must have been probably 70s era, maybe 80s. These were old. I mean, this was back in the 2000s, so I guess they weren't that old at the time, but they're old now if they're still there. The fans were kind of random throughout the store, and it was just such an odd install because some of them were like literally inches from the wall, and then others were in the middle of the store, and some were just in random spots. It was such a cool install. I wish I had pictures of that install. And then the Franks also had, I remember in the garden center, it had a huge drum fan with yellow blades, which I thought was cool, and a couple of the fans in the greenhouse. And I remember going to Frank's at Christmas time to look at the Christmas stuff. And I remember going to Frank's with my mother in the summertime to buy plants in the garden center. When the Frank's closed, it became an Ace Hardware store, so kind of similar store. And I remember going to Ace Hardware a handful of times in the late 2000s. The fans were still there. They were all filthy. Some of them were in kind of dilapidated condition. But they were all still there and running. I think most of them were running. And then unfortunately the Ace Hardware went out of business, and the building got turned into an alcohol store, which we don't condone on this channel. We don't condone the drinking. And the alcohol store did not last very long. I bet the fans were still there when it was the alcohol store, because the building pretty much looked the same. In more recent times, it got bought out by something else. I don't even know what it is now. And I'm pretty sure the fans are likely gone. The whole outside of the building has all been renovated and reworked. I'll have to see if I can try to find some pictures of the inside of that. I doubt there's any pictures out there, because this is pre, taking pictures of everything era. But maybe, who knows. Anyways, back to the Christmas lights. It says, Frank's takes pride in offering only the safest and highest quality indoor minus outdoor light sets. These products are designed by experts to create a beautiful holiday atmosphere throughout your home. You'll feel confident that you made the quality choice when you choose Frank's for your decorating needs. All light sets include a full warranty. If this set fails to light during the first season of use, return it with original receipt within 90 days of purchase, and will exchange it or issue a store credit for the purchase price. Frank's experts are dedicated to helping you enjoy a safe and bright holiday. That's why they take extra care in selecting and creating the best products available today for you. Design features. The indoor-outdoor lights you have purchased include the following special features. Extension cord style light set. What is that? Lamp locking system. 6-inch spacing between each bulb. Safety fuse plug. Safe for indoor or outdoor use. Flashing or steady burning. Spare bulbs including flasher bulbs. Straight line construction. If one bulb goes out, the rest remain lit. Connect up to 3 sets in one continuous line. Provides up to 157 and 1 divided by 2 feet of straight line coverage. I suspect you could probably connect 4 without exceeding the capacity of the wiring in the fuse. Push out pull-in lamps. This set contains replaceable bulbs. Each lamp contains a special shunting device, so if one lamp burns out, the rest will remain lit. However, if any lamp is removed from its socket, the set will not light. Burned out bulbs should be replaced to prolong the burning life of the set. Replace all burned out bulbs with 2.5 volt ultra bright replacement bulbs. Instructions. Removing set from the box. Slide sleeve of lights from the box. Plug set in. Remove string from sleeve while still plugged in. Why the heck would it suggest that? That's going to create a... I wouldn't do that because every time you pull the bulb out of the crate, you're jerking the filament around and it's going to burn out quicker. I'm surprised it even recommends that for a safety perspective. Optional. To make lights flash, remove one bulb from each end of set. Replace with red-tipped flasher bulbs. Replacement of bulbs. The number 1. Unplug set. Unsnap locking tab by lifting up, then pull out bulb base and burned out bulb. 2. Remove the bulb by straightening the wires coming out the bulb base. Insert new bulb by sliding wires into the holes in the bulb base. Bend wire over base so it will make contact with metal plates in socket. Push in new bulb base into socket, matching shape of base to socket shape. Push down tab to lock bulb in place. Caution: this set contains 100 lamps. Why is that dangerous? To reduce the risk of overheating, replace with 2.5 volt ultra bright lamps only. And it has pictures to go along with diagrams. Oh gosh. It has pictures to go along with the words. And then it has a diagram for the amount of lights that you would need to decorate a tree. I think that is grossly underestimating how many lights are required. Caution. To avoid... Oh man, what a boring production this is. Caution. To avoid fire and electrical shock, do not install on trees having needles, leaves, or branch coverings of metal or materials which look like metal. Do not mount or support strings in a manner that can cut or damage wire insulation. To avoid excessive heat and damage, do not attach decorative features to lamps. So you can't put it on a tree with needles. Well, what the heck is the point of a Christmas light string then? All Christmas trees have needles. Duh. That's dumb. Alright, let's plug these things in, and I guess we'll have to turn them on before I take it out, because can't, have it come out of the box not being plugged in. Oh no, that's just for removing from the crate. I guess we can take them out of the box not plugged in. Oh, we should test it in the box first. We might as well. It's got the testing thing here. It's kind of interesting. I've never seen that before. They are the working. Alright, here's how they come. All neatly put inside this plastic crate here, which is good for the environment. This is just put in here absolutely perfectly. Wires are very thin. I remember these Frank's lights with these very short bulbs. We used to have, I don't think we had any green ones, but we had strings of blue, and we had strings of red that we would use outside at Christmas time. I guess the concept was it was patriotic. And the strings had these very short bulbs, and the blue ones lasted so long. I still have a handful of them today. They lasted so long and were so reliable that the paint started to chip off the bulbs because they were outside for so many years. I think we had a couple of multicolored sets as well that lasted about as long. Well, let's take a couple of these out so we can see. The lead wire, I think, runs across the entire, yeah, it goes all the way over. Oh, you can't take them out unless they're plugged in. Just take a couple out so we can see the spacing. Actually, this comes out easier than I thought it would. You can see the bulbs have a decent amount of space between them, unlike the ones you buy today. I would say we are probably to the point now where the spacing is about half as the new ones are, like almost that. They're so short, which can have its benefits. When you're working on a tree, the shorter spacing is arguably preferable because you have less wiring to hide. But then when you're working on, putting them around a house or a doorway, you need so many strings. So then this becomes better because it covers more distance. Let's plug this into the kilowatt for a minute. At 119.2 the volts, these are taking 0.39 the amps, or 44.9 the watts, now 45 the watts, and a power factor of 96. So that's 0.39 the amps. Let me get out my scientific calculator here. I bet this fuse is a 3 amp fuse. Yep, 3 amp fuse. And that's 0.39. So we'll turn this on and we'll say 3 divided by 0.39. That is 7.6. So, what's 3? How do I figure this out here? 3 times 0.8. So we're allowed to put 2.4 amps through that fuse. So 2.4 divided by 0.39. So electrically, we can plug in 6 strings together and it would still be electrically sound. You could probably push it to 7, but that's going beyond 80% load. So you could really, you can connect twice as many as it recommends. I don't know why the limits are always so low on these things. And come to think of it, there's other, in a lot of commercial applications, people plug a ton of strings together and it's always usually just fine. It's very seldom that 3 is all you plug in. People plug in more than that all the time. Well, anyways, these are putting out a good amount of heat. Wow, those are actually getting quite warm. Wow, some of these I really can't even keep my hand on there for more than a couple seconds. And there are a bunch of bulbs that are out right out of the box, which is a little disappointing. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's like 4.5. That one's partially out. So we have 4 bulbs out right out of the box. And it only comes with 1 spare. That's a little disappointing. It should have come with more than that. I don't know if these are just dirty or what, but there seems to be inconsistencies here in the manufacturing. Some of these are definitely much brighter than others. The filaments appear to be in like different spots. It really seems like there might be some QC issues here. And look at the variance. That's pretty dim compared to that one. And that one, the paint's kind of very light compared to, say, this one. This one's barely illuminated. These lights are very good quality, the ones that were sold at Frank's, but I really do wonder if the QC was starting to slip a bit by now. Now, granted, once you put these on a wall or on a tree or something, you probably wouldn't notice this variant. You're noticing it because we're scrutinizing them very close together, which is not a typical use case. And in fact, if we look at them from just a couple feet away, you probably can't tell even here. Yeah, I can only detect the really obvious ones like that one. I don't know why that's so dim. That's kind of weird. They're a nice color, though. Very nice color. So it's a warm, Christmassy feel, like incandescent lights should be, and pretty much always are. It's a nice, rich color, too. Man, these are cooking. I can just feel the heat radiating off of there. I guess because these bulbs are so small compared to regular ones. I've got 2 strings of these, and in the other box there was just a couple random spares. I'm not sure if these work or not. 2 spares and a base. So we'll have to find somewhere to put these this year. I'm thinking that I might... Well, there's a couple options. I wanted to put the C6 replica lights along the outside of the living room. Like under the top of the window trim. Could also do that with these instead, because I don't have enough C6 replicas anyways. So we can do that, or I might put these around the top of the kitchen, on the ceiling outside the wall. That might look pretty cool. I have a whole bunch of green strings, probably at least 2 or 3 sets that are still on the ceiling in the studio at the old location. I got to get those down one of these days. I'm pretty sure those all still work. Those are not nice Franks ones like this. Those are newer. Probably not as reliable either. These have the really thin wires too, which I like. It's much easier to hide these in a tree, and they're not as obnoxious when they're on a wall either. So very nice lights. I remember these. I have a lot of nostalgia of these little bulbs. I remember these vividly. Those blue strings that we had. And there's also a couple of white strings I have too. White wire, white lights that have those short bulbs.